Good morning. We are doing the Bhagavad Gita. We had done till verse 10 from chapter 2. As you may recollect, Arjuna has asked some questions and Shri Krishna is giving him a set of answers. In the first answer, what he has said is, you should not act like a sissy. You should be manly. Go and face the world. You are supposed to go and do what is necessary as a man who has to fight. And after that, he tells him that it is your duty to go and fight. But Arjuna comes up with various reasoning. The reasoning is, these are elderly people, they are my relatives, how can I kill them, so on and so forth. So we had completed till verse 10. So today we are beginning verse 11 onwards. So we are doing Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse 11. Shri Bhagwan said, Arjuna, you grieve over those who should not be grieved for, and yet speak like the learned. Wise men do not sorrow over dead or living. This is a very good line for us to understand what is it that Arjuna is going through at this point in time. Knowledge exists within a person. Please know this. Knowledge exists within a person. The false belief in the world is that you gain knowledge. We gain knowledge. No. We have lived n number of lives. That means this is not just one life that we are talking about. There are so many lifetimes we have lived over the past lifetimes. That means this could be your maybe a millionth life. We don't know. Every life, knowledge has opened up within us. Spiritual knowledge exists within you. Alright? Just now at this moment in time, it may not appear to you. The factor which covers it up is Maya. It is like a gold nugget. A gold nugget which is covered by means of sand, dust, clay, you name it, whatever. There was something which was called the gold rush. It's very well known in some of the countries in this world. In the United States, in Central America, in South America, in the European regions, in India, China. The gold rush was somewhere in that particular place. They found a stream of gold, which means there is a particular location where after sifting the sand and all the mud, they found small pieces of gold. When they searched further, they found nuggets of gold. So now think about it. How many eons must have passed before that nugget of gold was found? A long time has passed and then the nugget was found. Similarly, a diamond. It is there embedded in some rock. It was found after a very long time. The person who goes after this, the person who finds it, then brings that nugget or that piece of diamond out, which is in a rough cut. It's a very rough one. Then he sells it in the marketplace. After he sells it, I will come to the last stage, the gold is polished and made into ingots in small square, rectangular pieces. Or the diamond is sent for cutting, and then you get the pure diamond. Think about what it is. Was the diamond not there before it was found? It was very much there. Wasn't the gold in that rock there? Was it something else? No, the rock had that gold in it. Likewise, human beings have knowledge within. It exists. This knowledge is the spiritual knowledge which you have gained over eons, many lifetimes. The job of the Guru is to polish this knowledge and make it more shining. The Guru's job is to get the diamond and shape it so that it increases in value. As a nugget, the gold will have very limited value. Okay? But as a particular piece of jewelry, I am sure the price would be humongous. If I were to go and buy a small diamond ring in India, it would cost me a couple of thousand rupees. Now, the same ring, I go to Tiffany's, which just opened recently, and I buy that ring. I can't pay that price because it would be lakhs of rupees or maybe crore, I don't know. But in India, with a regular jeweler, the price will be minimal. So do you understand this? The same diamond, which was a rock, has very limited value. When it is cut into a diamond and given perfect shape and it shines very brightly, it has got certain other value. When it is embedded in a tiara or in a crown or in a jewelry, it's going to cost the earth. So now think what I said. The knowledge is the same. That means a diamond is a diamond is a diamond. A gold is a gold is a gold. The difference is the gold was polished and made into a jewelry. Similarly, the diamond was polished, cut and polished and then made into a jewelry again. So both these things enhance the value. Spiritual knowledge is exactly like that. Spiritual knowledge enhances. When you meet your Guru, he polishes you, he cuts you up, he makes a very shining appearance of you. But it is your knowledge. So now think what Shri Krishna is telling. Arjuna, you have the knowledge. The easiest example for me to give you is, when I say certain words, now I gave you an explanation for more than 5 minutes. Did it enter your head? 100%. You came to realize, yes, of course. And if you are an Indian, you would do, we Indians love to shake our heads and nod our heads. So we will nod our heads and say, yes, now I understand. But you already knew about it. What new have I given? Have I given you some additional knowledge? No. I just pulled out that knowledge and sharpened it and gave it back to you. So Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna, here, the knowledge is with you. So, he says, you grieve over those who should not be grieved for, and yet you speak like a learned. You are grieving over people. We grieve over things. We are always crying over things which we don't even understand. How does that work? You see, suppose you have a piece of jewelry or you have your phone. Let us say you have a phone. And suddenly, while you're going out, you see, where is my phone? Where is my phone? Where is my phone? Huh? I have left it somewhere. And you go and search the whole house or wherever you think you have kept it. And you are unable to find it. What happened to my phone? This full day, the phone is there, but don't know where. You are going to be grieving for it. I had so much of data on it. I have so many numbers. Now today what am I going to do? Blah, 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 blah. Your whole day will be wasted just thinking about that object. And finally, you open your bag and you remove the packet of food that you have kept, and you find that you have left it inside that packet. And you forgot about it. It must have gone in there by mistake. The relief that you have, finally I found it. But it was always there with you. Unfortunately, your brain did not click. It was a temporary loss. Like that, Arjuna is having this grief over something which has actually not happened. Has the war started? No. Has anything happened? No. His mind has already traveled 1,000 kilometers and it is thinking, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? I'm going to kill them. This is going to happen. I will be doing sins. All their wives will become bad women. Now, my goodness gracious, he just keeps on going at it. It's his mind. Mind is used to this kind of projections. And that is why Krishna is saying, why are you grieving over things? You're a very intelligent person. Arjuna is a very intelligent person. Remember the last role that he has done? He was a dancer. And in the king's court, he taught the wife, last wife of his, dancing. And he was behaving like a woman. That means he was dressed like a woman. Do you remember this? Arjuna taught his wife dancing and he behaved like a woman. So that means he has the veiling capacity also. He can cover himself up. Nobody recognized him for 1 year. And in all this, there is one guy called Bhim. He was in the kitchen. Naturally. With such a big stomach, you have to be in the kitchen. So, this is the story where Krishna is saying, you have this knowledge and yet you are grieving for them. This is not correct. He says, wise men do not sorrow over dead or living. People, those who are wise. So, indirectly, isn't Shri Krishna telling Arjuna that you are a wise man? See the sentence. Wise men do not grieve over the dead or the living. When we talk about death and when we talk about living, the idea that somebody is dead in the family or amongst us, we keep on crying for that person. And there are some people who grieve over for years and years and years. They'll keep on thinking, I had a son. Somebody will say, I had a husband. Somebody will say, I had a wife. Some person will say, my mother died. And they will grieve over for years. Life and death are transitory. if you have a million other lives out there, maybe the previous life of yours, because you talk too much, maybe the previous life of yours, you must have been a parrot. And as a parrot, you just kept on jabbering all day. So your parents were also parrots. Do you think these are the same parents of yours who were there as parrot parents? And before that, you could have been a donkey. So those parrot parents, were they donkeys? Because that donkey, as you are, you had donkey parents. That doesn't sound right to you, isn't it? So your parents are neither parrots nor donkeys. Then what are they? They were parents or they are children of some other person. What does it matter to you? You see, if I want to drink water, I use any spout, water tap. What is my job? I just want to feel, to satiate my thirst. Isn't it? That is all I want, no? So I can take water from this tap, that tap, that tap, that tap, that tap. Any tap for that matter, and now think about it. Do you think just because the tap gave me water, I will call it Mummy? Because the tap gave me water, so I will say, Mummy gave me water, Mummy gave me. Now, how many mummies you have? I hope you understand. Just because some child is born from the womb of some woman's body doesn't mean that the child belongs to that person. It's just a womb. It's giving birth to a child. The child is God's child. That lady who gives birth is also God's child. It is just a via media. So Krishna is saying these words. Why are you grieving over somebody who is alive or dead? More explanation will follow in the future because the same thing keeps on repeating 100 times. Because human beings are so attached to every human being around them. My husband. If I were to break that thought of yours, today a woman will say, this is my husband. I love him so much. He is my Pati Parmeshwar. Okay, in India we call him Pati Parmeshwar. That means my God. The same person, I want you to think about this. Why is it that you are not given knowledge about your past life? The reason is because all your mind will get, should I say, screwed up because of that. You see, you will not be able to get it. I want you to think, if in this life, this husband of yours was your child or your father or somebody else in your previous life, how do you take it? It's not palatable. Isn't it? It is not palatable to you. You will say, what are you talking? Nonsense. But that is exactly what life is all about. Shri Krishna is telling them that. This problem appears if you had knowledge about your past life. That is why all the ordinary folks are never given knowledge about the past life. And one side track over here. Please don't go to all these idiots in this world who think that they can predict your past lives. Nobody can. Nobody can. Everybody, if you go to one person and say, what was I in my previous life? Past regression therapy, I'm sure you know that. Okay, in the past life regression therapy, they will say, after doing the therapy, they will say, in the last life, you were with Napoleon Bonaparte. And somebody will say, you were queen something. Okay? Oh my goodness. Everybody is Cleopatra. I mean, 20 women, 30 women, and men also. I don't know. Men can also be Cleopatra. Because the change in all this happens. So, you will find that there were a million Cleopatras, same person. He's telling all these people, you were Cleopatra, somebody was Napoleon, somebody was, some other person, maybe from Shakespeare, How stupid can that be? So don't get into all these things. Nobody can predict who you were in the past life. I can have multiple theories about it. But what are you trying to get into? So don't get into all these things. So that was a sidetrack. So understand this. So in your life, if you call somebody your husband, somebody your mother, somebody your father, your child, they don't belong to you. Never take ownership of anybody in life. They don't belong to you. Everybody belongs to God. It's God's child. In our pledge in India, we have everybody sister and brother. I'm sure, So like that, everybody is sister and brother. Don't bother your head about it. Somebody is not your husband and somebody is not your mother. Everybody is the same. But this is not understood. So we will move to the next verse. So we are doing Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse 12. In fact, there was never a time when I was not, or when you and these kings were not, nor is it a fact that hereafter we shall all cease to be. I'll continue with the next one, verse 13. Just as boyhood, youth and old age are attributed to the soul through the body, even so it attains another body. The wise man does not get deluded about this. Just now I explained that this is not your last life. And the previous one also was not your last. And the previous to that was also not your last. And it is not necessary that you were a human being. Fortunately for you, you are a human being right now. You should be fortunate enough. That I'll tell you later on, where you will understand why it is a fortunate thing that you are a human being right now. So what is Shri Krishna explaining? He says, just like the same person who is born first, then he is a child, then he grows up as a youth, and then he grows up into a young man, and then a slightly older person, and then he becomes an old man, and then he dies. These are the transitions that we go through. Similarly, birth is a transition, death is a transition. It's a straight line across many lifetimes, and that is only one blip. You have seen a graph, or you have seen a sound, how the sound travels. So this is just one up and down in your life. It's one frequency, going up, coming down and finished. And going up, coming down and finish. That's it. That is all that you are. You are nothing but a blip. This life is just a blip somewhere. And yet you are grieving for that person. You transition through this life. So don't bother your head about it. He says there wasn't a time, there's never a time when I was not, or when you and these kings were not. Here there is another secret revealed. The secret is that you, Arjuna, and I, Krishna, have been around all the time. Now I want you to think about this very, very carefully. Spiritual emancipation. Spiritual emancipation means getting enlightened. If some person says to you, enlightened means you don't come back, you are mistaken. Shri Krishna is the highest enlightened being. Nobody can beat Shri Krishna because he is the father, mother, everything is Shri Krishna. And he himself is talking about it. He says, there wasn't a time when you were not there, when I was not there. We were all there all the time. And this is the spiritual truth. And these people who are fighting you were always there. Let me give you a small glimpse about how this works. You might have met them on the opposite side of the battlefield. Today you are Arjuna. Today the person in front of you is your enemy. Okay? So he is Duryodhana. You are Arjuna. In the past life, in some life of yours, he might have been you and you might have been him. Who says it cannot be? It's a transaction, remember. Life is a transaction. You are just doing one transaction and going ahead. In India we have the UPI. So you go to a shop, you buy some stuff, maybe you buy grocery, and then you look at that barcode over there and you use your phone and you make payment to that person. It goes over the phone to that person's account. It's a transaction. Goods transacted for money, equivalent amount. So if I buy a bar of soap, which is 60 rupees or 70 rupees, I pay him that 60 rupees or 70 rupees. Got it? If I buy coriander or chilies, maybe 20 rupees or 30 rupees, I have to pay him 20 or 30. It's a transaction. So this is a transaction. Life is a transaction. So what is it that makes you think that you are not paying back or he is not paying you back? And that is the reason why Shri Krishna tells him, you were there and I was there and these kings were there. Even at the end of time, they will always be there. So even if spiritual enlightenment happens, we will all be there. So when, our religion, that is this particular religion, the Sanatana Dharma, says that we have multiple lifetimes. In the multiple lifetimes, it is not necessary that you are born as the same person. Okay? You are not going to be born Arjuna, 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 Arjuna. No. It's not Arjuna square. It is Arjuna to the power of n. No, nothing like that. You can be born as anything. Any time in your life you could be born as a snake also. Anytime you could be an elephant. Anytime you could be a butterfly. What does it matter? A butterfly or an elephant will not have human beings as parents. Okay? I'm sure that you understand. Common sense will tell you that. A laboratory, yes. You may say you got created in a laboratory. That's a different story. But you will be coming from the genetic material of that creature. An elephant will come from the elephant's genetic material. A snake will come from snake's genetic material. Yes, in our films we have human beings turning into snake and all that kind of thing. That is utter nonsense. Don't go into it. So, this is the truth. You were always there. I was always there. So, in this lesson, I have bundled the spiritual truth and also given it to you. So, for just 2 minutes, I will tell you what is the spiritual truth about it. These 3 verses tell us that you, Arjuna, which is the body, me, divinity within the body, always has met. So even if you take another form, I am always there with you. So you can be a butterfly, You can be an elephant, you can be a worm, you can be anything in the world that has living entity is that particular object, whereas I am the one who is the divinity within that person. So even if you take a life of a dog, I am still going to be that life within you, the spirit soul within you. That is the reason why we have always existed. And because we have existed, everybody around you has also existed and died. Do we grieve for the lion going and eating a deer? Do we grieve over it? In this world, all the animals who are carnivorous are going and killing some creature. Similarly, a bacterium or a fish will eat another fish or another bacterium, a small creature. Do we bother about it? Oh my God, the poor bacteria got eaten. Do we say these words? No. We don't grieve for things. It's the same thing. Why are you grieving for something? For another human being. You are here to fight a battle. Go fight. And this is what the explanation is. And we have to always consider this, that nobody or nothing belongs to us. Everything is God's property. You are God's child. Your son is your God's child. Your daughter is your God's child. Your husband is your God's child. And we are all going to be here. Mother, father, everybody, we keep on cycling, recycling our life over and over again. And this is the spiritual truth. So we should not grieve for anybody, because we'll keep on coming again and again. And the transactions will continue to happen. This will get explained in the next chapter, maybe the third or the fourth, where how does karma work. And so we have done 3 verses so far. Alright, so I'll take your leave now. You have a very good evening or a good day. Thank you so much.